It is Angel Yumiko, the Flying Dutchman, as well as Minister Indranee Rajah in the studio today. She is, of course, Second Minister for National Development of Singapore. Good morning, Minister Indranee. Thank you for joining us.
Morning. Thanks for having me on the show.
It's so good having you back in the studio.
True. So today we're going to be talking about a couple of things. Let's start off with TFR, total fertility rate. What's meant by total fertility rate?
Well, basically, you look at the nation's birth rate,
right,
and you see, whether you're able to replace yourselves or not. And for us, unfortunately, for this year, for the very first time, it dropped below 1. I mean, if it's 1, you're having replacement, right? And actually, ideally, you should be having like over 1, so that you've got a bit of buffer.
Yeah.
But we've dropped below 1.
Why is it so low?
Well, this is a global trend. It's not just Singapore.
Yeah.
But obviously, I think we fall in the lower range, and it's been happening for a number of years. In fact, it's across decades. And there are few things. One is aspirational. So generations have changed. Okay, I hesitate to say this, but in our time, meaning you and me, Flying Dutchman, right? Different generation. In our time, the thing was you get out of school, you get married, have kids, and you do your work concurrently. Yeah. I think for millennials, for Gen Z, it's different. They want to achieve some milestones first, whether it's career, travel, in some cases causes, right? So there's a generational mindset shift. That's one big bucket. Then there's another one, which is the more practical considerations. For example, cost of raising a child, enough infant care or preschool. How will I be able to get school places for my kid? Enough time to be with my child. So there are all these other practical considerations and balancing work and of course family life.
Okay. You mentioned costs of raising children. There is a rise in cost for everything. I think, FD, you had a question that you wanted to ask about.
I saw this in a report in the Straits Times. Young couples today are saying having a baby would put them back 15 years. How do you fight that?
Oops. When it said put them back 15 years, put them back financially
15 years.
I feel it's financially. I feel it's career goals. I feel it's age, because having children does age you. I feel it's 15 years overall.
Oh, okay.
So,
all right.
How do you deal with a statement like that?
Or a mindset like that, yeah.
So, good question. Whether to get married and have children is very much a personal choice.
Yes.
So you can't dictate to people, this is what you must do. And some people may want to get married, don't find the right person. Some people get married and then turns out to be the wrong person. Yeah. You just don't know how it pans out. But our surveys show that people do generally want to get married and have children. Question is when. So our approach is, fine, let's see what we can do to make Singapore a place that's more conducive to having children. So on the cost part, we've enhanced the baby bonus cash gift. We've also enhanced the child development account. That's the one where the government gives you a grant outright, and then for subsequent years they also put up a matching amount. So if you put in 100, government puts in 100, and so on. We've increased the number of infant care places and looking to see how we can expand that. Childcare, we've lowered the costs. We've lowered the caps. We've increased the number of people who would be able to apply for that. And the other important thing, of course, is housing. To make sure that young couples, especially those with children, get priority. So there are a number of things. So on the cost side, government has stepped up. But the other thing I think should be borne in mind. So when you say set back 15 years. If they're not intending to have children at all, then I suppose it doesn't make a difference. But if you're intending to have children and the plan is to have them 15 years later, you've got to bear in mind that the fertility issues kick in.
Yeah.
Because, fertility gets affected with age. I mean, it's not something you think about in your 20s, but it will become quite pertinent in 30s and 40s. So just something for people to bear in mind.
The ticking biological clock.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go on The Big Show TV and continue this conversation. If you want to join us and Minister Indranee Rajah, please do so on Kiss 92's Facebook and YouTube channels. Right now, though, you are playing DJ for the next 40 minutes or so,
Really?
Minister Indranee. And you have picked this song by Sia, Unstoppable. Tell us why you picked it.
I love that song. There's something about it which is so uplifting. And have you seen the video where it's played with the clips of Wonder Woman movie, right?
Yes.
It's just awesome. So I listen to it on those days when I think like, I really can't get through this because there's so much work to do. And then you listen to Sia's Unstoppable and then it's like, yeah, I can do this.
It empowers you.
Yes.
Oh, we love it. Here you go. This is Minister Indranee's choice for your song of the day. It is Sia's Unstoppable on Kiss 92.
Okay, so now back to our Big Show TV. This one is a second question that I do have, mainly because of my age group. I fall between 30 to 35. And you know, the changes to parental leave schemes are seen by many as one of the biggest announcement at this year's NDR, right? So can you tell us, talk us through these changes and why are they necessary?
Well, as PM Wong mentioned in his National Day rally speech, we really want to have a strong signal of a societal shift. And this is something that came out of the Forward SG conversations that we had with Singaporeans as to what would make a difference. And I've discussed earlier, right? Cost and various other things. But one big thing stood out, which was parents, especially for newborns, wanted to spend more time with their children. And we had maternity leave, 16 weeks for the mum, and paternity leave 2 weeks mandatory, 2 weeks voluntary. So for the 2 weeks voluntary, we found that, dads wanted to take it, but it was difficult and the employers don't really have to do it because it's still voluntary. So step one was we're going to make that mandatory, something that PM had signaled in the last budget. Then for maternity, for the shared parental leave, the dads could borrow up to 4 weeks of the mum's 16 weeks. But then when you do that, the dads felt bad doing it because you're taking away from the mum's leave. So we thought, okay, we should have more. Then we said, hang on a minute, if we give more, they might end up with the mums taking all of the leave. So the default position, we said, okay, let's work backwards and see how much leave we can give whilst balancing with employers' needs. So we said give an additional 10 weeks. But default position is 5 weeks to mum, 5 weeks to dad. If you want to change that, you can make it flexible. But the signal that PM was sending, and which the government is sending, is that dads raising a child, bringing up a child should be equal parental responsibility. And everything shows that makes a positive difference. Research shows that when dads are involved early on, the children grow up. They have good outcomes in life, I think, because of the emotional balance, the bond with the fathers as well as the mothers. So good thing in all, and important for the dads to do this. I think this generation of dads would like to do it. We do have to get the employers on board as well, because many of the employers where it's an older generation, sometimes it's like, how come you need to do this? But I think that's changing, which is good.
Yeah, and dads, remember, you also have to change diapers and wake up in the middle of the night to feed that child. It's all encompassing.
It's all part of it.
Been there, done that.
Yeah, there you go. Look at FD as a role model. Okay, so childcare is down. Baby bonus is up. Extension of parental leave. All these things have been put in place to encourage Singaporeans to have more children.
Right.
But will this move the needle for the birth rate?
Well, if you ask, does any single one of them move the needle? The answer would be probably not.
Yeah.
But the bigger question is, if you put them all together, will it help? And I think it will help. Again, as I mentioned earlier, these are personal choices. So you can't force anybody to get married and have children. But you can create a Singapore that is made for families. A Singapore where the environment is conducive, where employers are understanding, but the quid pro quo for that is employees must also work with their employers on the shared parental leave, make sure that the employer's work is covered and so on. But if you have a Singapore where you young couples can get their housing, where when they have children, the costs are supported, and the children can get access to infant care, childcare, and the flexible work arrangements. That will make it easier, and that's what we're working towards.
And yeah, I have to say, I do agree, because after watching the NDR, I was like, oh, maybe I should discuss with my husband.
Having a child?
Yeah, having a child. Because for the longest time, I've always been on the side of, maybe not having a child is good. It's better for me as well. But now, with all the changes that is up and coming, I'm like,
Yeah, like, would you hurry up already?
Well, we have three of your demographic in the studio today. We have Yumiko, we have Cheyenne, two Gen Zers over there, and then we've got, are you millennial or Gen Z?
Millennial.
Millennial, there you go. So we have different generations here.
Absolutely. You've even gone over the hill.
Okay, FT.
Okay. There are parents who are currently expecting. Is there a consideration of introducing these changes earlier for them? Do you think that's going to happen?
Good question. And you know, that comes up every time we introduce a new measure.
Yeah, of course.
This one we had to think through very carefully, because the additional 10 weeks of parental leave would have an impact on the employers. So we would have loved to say that on the day we announce it is the day that it comes into effect. But when we spoke to the employers, they said that they do have operational challenges. They need to have to put things in place. So their ask was, first, can there be enough of a runway between the time of announcement and the time that it's implemented? And we said, okay, so it's coming into effect on 1st of April next year.
Next year.
But the employers also asked, can we do it in stages? Because if you think about it, assuming both mum and dad take the leave all at one go, each employer is down by 5 weeks.
Yeah.
And the question is, can you find somebody to cover, to replace? And they said that even if we have time to make the arrangements beforehand, right now it's a tight labour market. So just finding the people may be an issue. And then they need to work it out as well, because it's not that you take the 5 weeks in a block. You may decide, for example, that I want to take 1 week first, then come back to work, and then later on come back, and then
you can break it up.
You can break it up, and there's flexibility for the parents to allocate between themselves. So mum might take 6 weeks, dad might take 4 weeks. So all these need time, and you have to give lead time to the employers. So at their request, we put it in two stages. So 2025. It's 6 weeks, so 3 for mum, 3 for dad.
Okay.
And then 2026, the full 10 weeks kicks in. 5 for mum, 5 for dad.
I see.
Okay. All right. We're going to go on air in a bit after our traffic.
Kiss 92 traffic.
Look out if you're on the PIE heading towards Tuas at the Bedok North Road entrance. A vehicle's broken down. If you have any other news for us, it's 8855 We are with our very special guest in the studio today, Minister Indranee Rajah, Second Minister for National Development of Singapore. And the song you heard right before traffic, of course, by Coldplay, Viva La Vida. That was Minister Indranee's choice as well. Tell us why you picked that one.
Okay. Well, it's just the beat. It's the beat and the words, because there's this sort of like thumping beat, and it keeps you on the go. But it's also the premise behind the song. This guy who's obviously had it all, and then one day it's taken away, and he's looking back and he's reminiscing, right? Then you keep wondering, oh dear, would you ever be in that position? But it kind of keeps you grounded. So I think the best illustration of this song is, did you watch the series Suits?
Yes.
No,
yes,
I never got
yes.
started on
Yeah,
that.
okay. So right at the end, when Harvey leaves the firm, and he's the lawyer that's been at the top of his game, but he decides right at the end that he's... Oh, don't spoil this for people.
Spoiler!
Yeah.
no, okay, I'm never
Anyway,
watching the series then.
but when he decides that he leaves the firm and he's going to do pro bono work, right? And then they play this song, which everything goes silent except for the song, and I was
Nice.
like, yeah, that's really very impactful.
Nice. That's a great song there. We've got more music by Minister Indranee coming up. So today we're covering quite a few topics, Minister. We're talking about the total fertility rate. We're talking about the new parental leave schemes that were announced at the National Day rally. And just on air, we were talking about, FD did ask you, for those parents who are currently expecting, because these leave schemes don't kick in until April 1st. 2025, and it's not an April Fool's joke, obviously.
No.
But you were just talking on air how to help employers, because it is manpower is at a crunch right now.
Yeah.
To help them, you have actually put into play a little bit of a flexible, extendable period for them to get used to it. So can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Okay, so for shared parental leave to work, and for it to work well in the flexible way that it's intended, it really requires collaboration between the employees and the employers. If you look at it from an employer's perspective, they want to help the employees. That's great, but they've got profit bottom line, they've got revenues to meet, they've got work to be done, and the one thing that really helps them is advance notice. So we've built in a provision for the employees to give at least 4 weeks notice. So that way, the employees know beforehand. But we want to encourage everybody, as soon as you're going to have a child, actually tell your employer, work it out, figure out who's going to cover you when you're on leave, what are the arrangements going to be like, give notice early. You got to work out with your partner. Are you going to take it 3-3, 5-5? How are you going to allocate it? And basically have that conversation. And this is actually quite new. It requires a mindset shift. Because traditionally it's kind of like, this is your leave allocation, you put in your leave application, and then you just go on with it. But this requires some negotiation, requires some compromise, and requires trust. I think the employers need to be able to feel that the leave will not be abused. And the employees need to feel that I can take this and not worry that I'm going to be marked down at work, and that I have a chance to come back, my promotion. You cannot say that there won't be any impact on your work, right? But if this becomes the norm, then your promotion prospects and all the rest of it becomes part and parcel of the normal trajectory, and you don't need to feel that I'm doing something extraordinary and going to be losing out as a result.
Yeah. Because when this was announced, I remember we were talking about it. Like, will this stop employers from employing potential employees for when they just get married, and if they say they're planning to have kids, because now the men and the women are both affected in that sense. Do you know what I mean?
And it makes it even tougher when the man and the woman are actually working within the same
company. I was
and
going
the
to
same
say
department.
that. I was going to say that. Okay, let's talk a little bit more again on the Big Show TV. Join us on Facebook and YouTube at Kiss 92 FM. The time right now is 8:18.
Kiss 92 Time Check brought to you.
So do you think this will be a con, for employers when they're looking at a potential employee coming in, say, for an interview, say a Yumi, and I'm sitting here as a boss going, so are you planning to have kids? And he goes, yeah, maybe. And I'll be like, oh no, in my head I'm calculating 10 weeks out kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Okay, let me start out by saying that actually the total numbers affected would be relatively small. If you think about it, our resident workforce is 2.5 million. And the number of babies born in a year, on average, 30,000. So assuming both parents take it, you're talking about 60,000 employees out of the 2.4 million, which is about 2.5%. Then out of that, out of that 2.5%, there's a number in civil service. which is a large employer that can make some arrangements there, and a good number also either MNCs or larger companies. So I think it's the smaller companies who would feel this more than the larger ones. And if it turned out that there was a case where a smaller company and employing both husband and wife, then the key is to have that conversation and see how you can work it out. Be very hard if both husband and wife took the leave at the same time, but if they had a conversation with their boss and worked it out such that the wife takes first, husband takes after, or you space it out, or if both are going to take it, then at least make sure that there's somebody to cover. So that's the idea.
But the main thing is also to just have that conversation way before,
yes,
right? And both parties sit down with the bosses as well. And I love it that you're here, because now it gives me like the green card to go outside and like, hey boss, let's have a talk.
Yes, please do.
Wait,
No, go ahead.
okay, I was going to say, I mean, a lot of people are employed, but a lot of people are also self-employed. I mean, this is something that we were speaking about,
yes,
you know.
yeah.
A lot of people have left their corporate jobs to, say, start businesses on their own, bakeries, whatever it may be. How does that affect? Does it affect that? Are they allowed to take this time? I know they're paying themselves, but I mean, how do we encourage them to jump on the baby bandwagon?
No, great question, because this is government paid parental leave and government paid maternity, government paid paternity. So basically they qualify as well, and they would have to give an indication of what their income was, and then the government will work it out with them.
So as long as you're drawing a salary, you're open to getting that from the government.
Yes, that's right. But there's a cap, though. It's 2,500 per week, or which works out.
That's quite a bit.
Yeah, that works out to about 10K per month.
Per month. Oh,
yes.
Wow,
So
that's
the cap
a week.
It's not bad.
It is.
It's
decent.
very good.
Yeah.
It's very good.
Coming from me.
And it's encouraging.
Yes.
It's encouraging for the younger set, or even the ones that have waited till their 30s or 40s to have a child as well.
Interestingly, though, this taking of leave and how it affects the employer. I mean, I've got a company of my own, and I've had people ladies who've gotten pregnant, taken leave, husbands who have taken leave because their wives are pregnant, and we're all used to this work from home thing.
Yeah.
And I know you should not be doing it because this is your maternity, paternity leave. But I was surprised the number of times that the volunteer was the person taking the leave going, yes, I'm taking this leave, but I am available. If you need me at home, I'm there. I can help out.
Oh, like jump on a meeting,
Yeah, I can
pitch for a project.
I
whatever.
can. And that surprised me because that is a nice train of thought, You're getting all this leave, but you are willing to be there should I, in an emergency, need your help.
That's right. And I think that's the kind of culture you want to encourage. Not saying that, if you take leave, you always have to be coming back.
Yeah.
But for an employee who is understanding and who says, I want to take my leave, but if there's a crunch, let me know. I'll see what I can do from home.
Exactly.
And that makes a difference.
Yeah.
And I just want to close off on one point on the government paid leave. We felt that government should do that because we're asking the employers to give the leave. And what it does is it does two things, right? It relieves the employer of paying salary for the time when the shared parental leave is taken. It frees up the money in the employer's hands that they would otherwise have paid to the employee to be able to employ somebody else.
Right.
Or to pay those who are covering the work, or to have temporary hires. And for those who are self-employed, which you raised, it gives them peace of mind. Because they then don't feel that I have to be working just because I'm self-employed, but I have that peace of mind that I can focus on my child.
I think that's brilliant. I mean, I really think that will help to change the mindset, because that's what we're trying to do. Get the message across. Yes, we are an aging population, falling birth rate. It is a national issue, but we also want to talk about people having kids as a personal fulfillment.
Yeah.
How can we further that message that you're not just
Yes.
doing this as a national service or such?
It becomes very cold.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
does.
Yeah.
Right?
I got to do this for the country.
Yeah, exactly. So how do we do it? Because we want you to sit around the living room with your grandkids at Christmas. You know what I mean? And have
Yes.
that. How do we get that message across?
So the shared parental leave
It's one way.
is a strong message because what we're really saying is that we think it's important for you to spend time with your child. Those first few months of your child's life are an important period, and that's when the bond is formed. And it works both ways. It's beneficial for the child, but it's beneficial for the parents too. So that's a strong signal.
Yeah.
But the flexible work arrangements, which continues on, as the child grows up, that's another important part, and that's something both employers and employees have to learn to do well, so that it becomes the norm. That's the key. How do you normalize it so that you can have productivity as far as how birth rate is concerned, but productivity in the company as well.
Okay.
Very true. Okay. The only other thing I want to I can think of is this whole idea of fulfillment.
Okay, well, hold that thought.
Oh.
We'll go on air
We got
and then
red
you
card,
can.
did we?
Yeah,
Okay.
we did.
All right.
Kiss 92 traffic.
On the PIE towards Tuas, right before Pioneer Road North, look out for a broken down vehicle. Wherever you are today, if you spot anything at all, our number is 8855-0920. We are with Minister Indranee Rajah, Second Minister for National Development of Singapore, and you can also join us on The Big Show TV on Facebook as well as YouTube.
So the question I've got, it just popped into my mind as we were speaking about fulfillment. As opposed to, we've got to do this for the country, folks. Go make babies for Singapore. No, the idea of fulfillment, in my mind, that is a discussion that starts at a much younger age, before people start to get married. The whole
Upbringing.
yeah, it's the whole concept of
Family.
a family. That's so important, and
But those that choose not to have babies are not,
No,
don't
I'm not-
come from
I'm not saying
families that don't have
no,
that family
I'm not saying that.
feel.
I'm saying that if you don't want a baby, you don't want a baby. But the idea of children as a fulfillment should start at a much younger age. Do you agree?
I think it's hard to say. It varies from individual to individual, and it also varies from generation to generation. Because for some people, fulfillment might not be necessarily in having a child. That's right. For some people, fulfillment might mean, success at work, and so on.
Community service.
Community
Yeah.
service, etc.
Yeah.
But, I mean, and this is a personal take, the one thing about fulfillment is that it can't purely be about work, transactions, and money. Because fundamentally, fulfillment is what makes you feel whole, what makes you feel good, what makes you feel connected, what reassures you emotionally. And that, at the end of the day, has to do with people. And fundamentally, family is the thing that anchors most of us.
Yeah.
Family is, these are the people that you work for, meaning that when you do something, why are you earning?
To
For
take care
yourself,
of your
yes, but
family.
also to take care of your family. When you do stuff and you have something nice happen, who do you want to share that with? Obviously you share that with your friends, but you also want to share with your family because you want them to be happy, you want them to be proud of you. And when your family members do well, you're happy for them, right? So family is a very, very important anchor. And hopefully people will see that as something that, is important in their lives.
The cornerstone, yeah. I think that's interesting. Okay, we're going to go back on the Big Show TV with yet another DJ Minister Indranee song. Yeah, this one is Miley Cyrus's Flowers. I'm a fan of this song, and I think a lot of people are. Why did you choose it?
Well, I guess, everybody knows the story behind why she wrote it, and it was after a bad breakup. And I think that the message in this song was that really, I can pick myself up. And at the end of the day, I don't need somebody else. I can put the pieces together and I'm enough, So okay, maybe not a great song in the context of marriage and parenthood, but it's
No, that's okay. That's okay. Women can still be enough.
yes, but it's a great song in terms of no matter what happens when the chips are down, you can pick yourself up and actually come back even stronger than before.
Okay, here's a song about being enough and being strong. Here's Miley Cyrus with Flowers on Kiss 92.
Hey, I'm Miley Cyrus.
So actually, I do have a question.
Sure.
Yeah, like what FD said, right? You know, all about personal fulfillment of having a family as well. But I think it's really important that also for partners, right? Like you and your partner sit down and be on the same page to want to have children.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it comes in with the whole work-life balance situation where, you know, okay, after work, it's time to head on back home, spend time with the family, see the children, and have a little bit of family time away from work as well.
Yeah.
So it's what both parties see as a family nucleus, right? Or
Yeah.
what they want.
Yeah, and I think it's beyond that. I don't think it's just, okay, let's have kids. I think what I feel what a lot of couples may not get right is the discussion of how the child is going to be brought up. You know, the beliefs of what the kind of school they want the children to, because I think both parents have to be on the same page with that as
yes,
well.
for sure.
The disciplining of the child, the mindset, the principles, the ethics. Because once the child comes along, you know, the father will say, "Oh no, let's cane the child." The mother will be like, "No, you know, we have to use a soft hand." So I think all that discussion is important before having children as well.
For
you
sure,
know.
yeah. It really puts me in a thinking box, right? And like, maybe.
It's a lot to think. Oh, you're,
Yeah, a lot of
you're going to
thing,
make
yeah.
babies this weekend then.
No, actually, according to FD, it should be right after the show. Go back home and make a baby.
I was telling her this at 6 o'clock this morning. I
Yeah.
said, Minister Indranee is coming in. End of show, go home, make babies.
Yeah, but this is very important to happen now because bosses are standing outside. They are listening. So it's like, boss, okay, remember this advanced conversation we're having.
Wow, if only I had that power, then at the end of the year I can go back to PM and say, hey, you know, done.
It works.
Done deal.
You
Everybody's
need to
having
go to
babies.
every radio station and say the same thing.
But yeah, I do have a lot of friends who are new mothers, and right now, maybe you know their baby is less than a year, like less than 12 months, and they're already thinking of taking sabbatical because this is not in effect yet, right, until next year. And they're thinking, oh, maybe I should go to my boss tomorrow and think of taking no pay leave for the next couple of months because baby's still young. I really want to spend time at home. My husband has to work and we can take turns as well. So yeah, I think this is actually going to be very beneficial.
That actually brings a question to mind. Is this also the parental leave? I know it's for newborns, but can parents of new babies take it when it kicks into effect? You know, let's say they have the baby in December and then it kicks in April. Is there a timeline as to when the child is too old for you to take the parental leave, the 10 weeks?
The 10 weeks is for newborns.
Newborns only.
Yeah,
okay.
that's right.
Only newborns.
That's right. So if you know the child is older, then
Even if they're-
you would be taking a different sort of leave. That's childcare leave.
Okay.
And one other thing I should mention that this parental leave has to be taken within a year of the child's birth.
Got it.
So
okay.
to make it very clear that this is intended for when the child is newly
Newborn,
born.
okay.
And that's because that's a bonding period, and this seems to be the period where the parents most want to be with the child. After that, there are the the child nursery, kindergarten, childcare options. But the first few months are really quite crucial.
Correct me if I'm mistaken, but I think I remember for this to take effect, right, the 10-week extra parental leave is for babies born from 1st of March 2025.
It will be 1st of April.
It's April.
1st of April, yeah.
April, that's
Okay,
when it
so
kicks
it's
in.
when the newborn is born on 1st of April onwards.
That's right.
Onwards.
Okay.
Okay. Got it.
I'm planning. I'm counting the calendar.
No, I've been looking at all of this, and it's one thing that I would like to see. I mean, having had kids, and my kids are all in their 30s and often married and everything. But one thing I would like to have seen, we see it happen in France. It's just happened in Australia. It's a small thing, but it helps. Companies leave their staff alone after working hours. You will not believe the difference that makes
for sure.
to a couple when one of them isn't on their laptop working at 8:30 at
And
night
stressed, right? While
and
they're on
stressed
leave.
out. Meanwhile, they're trying to deal with the baby.
Yep.
That is, and I'll say this to you because you're part of the government. That is something I would like to see come into effect in Singapore. Seriously.
I think a lot depends on the type of work, the nature of the work, but most importantly, the relationship between the employer and the employee.
Yeah.
And the difficulty comes when you try to mandate too much. So just take my job, for example, right?
Right.
Actually, the time that I have to clear emails is after other people's working day ends, right? Because in the daytime, I'm coming here talking to all of you, going out for events, or I have to go for constituency events, whatever. So the downtimes to actually sit and look at my computer will either be after 5 and sometimes on weekends. But the key thing is that even if I send out an email that time, it's important that my staff need to know they don't have to come back immediately, unless of course it's something very urgent, because the nature of government work sometimes is that, if something flares up, you have to deal with it. So if let's say you send out an email at midnight, you shouldn't be expecting your employee to be responding at 1 a.m. in the morning, and it's fine for them to respond the next day. So this kind of stuff you need to work out. You can't completely mandate it beforehand, but you're right. I mean, the point is that you cannot expect somebody to work 24/7, 365 days a week.
Exactly.
They need to breathe. And when, again, sorry, generational thing, when we started out, it was like 9 to 5, and it was 5.5 days. But, Saturday afternoon and Sundays were clear, and you weren't working around the clock because there was no email at that time.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
When I first started out as a lawyer, right, way back when, like before the floods, you could write to your client in the UK and send it by C-mail.
Yeah.
It was wonderful because it would be 3 months before you got a reply. So, I don't have to act immediately, right? I send off the letter and I wait 3 months before I have to do something, but not so in today's world.
And I mean, back then when someone wanted to call you, they would ring you on a landline, and if you missed the call, you would have no idea that you missed the call. So you would have every excuse to say, "I didn't hear the phone ring."
That's
right. But now you've got the whole log on your phone saying, "Didn't you get my missed call?
Yes.
Why didn't you call back?"
Yes.
Yeah, so that's exactly it. The pace at which we're working has become faster and faster, and it's really round the clock. And I think what's happening is that the pendulum swing is coming back, and people are saying, "I need some
Slow
time to
down.
breathe." Yeah. And it's not slow down to the point that you get to a standstill.
Of course not,
but you need to get that right balance.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are I've noticed when I send emails out, I've noticed that a lot of people have this automatic reply that says, "I only reply my email at 3 p.m. and 5 p.m. So anything in between, don't expect to get an answer." And I think that's great because straight up, I've sent this, and then this person just sits down at their computer for half an hour and just trudges through everything that's come through. But there's only that block. So it's really good for I think, work-life balance as well that we need to find. Okay, we're going back on air.
Kiss 92 traffic.
There are a couple of situations now. We know the Woodlands and Tuas causeways are backed up to the max because it is the start of the school holidays. But elsewhere on the BKE towards the PIE before the Dairy Farm Road exit, look out for an accident in lane 2. Also on the KPE towards the TPE, a vehicle's having some trouble at the PIE exit. Wherever you are this morning, stay safe. You're on The Big Show and The Big Show TV, and we have the lovely Minister Indranee Rajah in the studio with us talking about making babies this weekend. And she's also...
I did not.
Okay, talking about how we need to have more babies to raise the birth rate, at least in Singapore, and how the government is doing so many great things to encourage that number to come up.
And yes, we do mean that this weekend it
You make
starts,
babies,
yes.
It's just
Absolutely.
it's short of the long.
No, but it's not often that we have a minister in our studio, and one of us has a story to tell connected to the minister. Now, Yumiko, you have that story.
She does. A lovely one as
Thank
well.
you for reminding me. So this morning, when I knew that you were coming in, I was absolutely excited. And I was just telling the guys or the team that a personal friend of mine, a very, very, very close friend of mine, they wanted me to say a big thank you to you. Because you helped them out back in November 2023. Their names are Cheryl and Samuel. They are a married couple, and of course, they wanted your help to get them HDB.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I don't know if you remember this huge mango. So they told me that a resident in your area came to you during the Meet the People session, gave you a mango, and because Cheryl was looking at a mango and she was like, oh, the mango looks so good. And you told her, you know what, have it. You passed her the mango. They took a picture of the mango and they said, you know what, we finally got our house sorted and we just want to say thank you to Minister.
Okay, well, I'm really glad that they managed to get the house, because that's an important part, right, of starting your life journey together.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So, well, please say hi to them for me. And
They're actually tuning in.
I hope they enjoyed the mango.
Yeah, they did. They really did.
Apparently, it was quite an epic mango, bigger
Mango,
than the
yeah.
size of their
Bigger
head.
than her head.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Yeah, it's
Big mango.
Very big mango.
Make for some great mango salad. Okay, so we're speaking about lots of great stuff today, like we mentioned, not just about making babies, but of course raising that birth rate. Now, you mentioned at the start of the show that our number is below 1.
For TFR, yeah.
What exactly does that mean? How many babies are being born, and how many babies need to be born to bring that above that 1%?
Well, basically, we've got about 30,000, right?
A year.
A year.
Okay.
So you're going to need something like, to get the right rate, about 60,000.
Oh, double then.
Double, if you want to have enough buffer.
Right.
I mean, because basically you need replacement, right? So two people produce one child that's not even replacing themselves.
Yeah.
Two people having 2 children, then you have replacement.
And what's the child, the ideal number for a couple to have? I mean, from the government standpoint, is it 2.5 children? Is it 3.1 quarter? Is it 1.5?
Okay.
Is there a number?
This one, there isn't sort of like the correct number to have. It really depends on the couple. And this is a personal view, because I know that many couples feel that if I just have one child, that's enough, because it's so tiring already having to look after one child, which is maybe true from parents' viewpoint. But when I think about it from the child's viewpoint, when a child's growing up, having siblings is actually a really nice thing, because when you get older, you need somebody to confide in, you need somebody to have your back. When your parents are no longer around one day, who's the other person? I mean, yes, you may have your own family, but having a sibling also matters. And somehow there's something about having siblings, and I'm sure you know this. I mean, you play together, you fight together, you fight over your toys, you argue and so on. But it teaches you, right, how to compromise. It teaches you how to watch out for other people's reactions. You learn to be more sensitive. So no perfect answer, but ideally, it would be nice, I think, for any child to have siblings. It makes a difference.
At least one other.
We've got some very interesting comments on our Facebook page that I want to deal with.
All right, we'll get to those on the Big Show TV. Right now, another song from DJ Indranee Rajah. It is Ava Max's King and Queens. Tell us a little bit more about that choice.
Okay, you'll notice that most of the songs that I've chosen have a kind of a fast beat and a bit of a theme. So this one, well, I guess it's a shout out to the ladies out there to say that I think women can do a good job too.
Oh, nice. Okay, here's Ava Max with Kings and Queens. Join us on the Big Show TV at Kiss 92.
If all of the kings had their queens.
So a couple of comments coming through on
What is that?
the mango.
So Samuel tuned in and he just sent me a photo of that mango that you gifted to Cheryl.
That's the size. Show it to the camera as well.
Look at that. Okay,
It is
huge mango.
Yeah, it's a very, very huge mango.
He still has the picture.
So, comments to deal with on our Facebook page. Aloysius has come through and says, it seems like the minister works almost around the clock, and it's a tough job. Thank you very much for what you do.
Oh, that's very
That's
sweet
just
of
for
you.
you.
Thank you.
But Matthew came through and he said something that's really interesting. We were talking about fulfillment. And he says, fulfillment is not about having the child. Fulfillment is about developing the individual.
Ooh.
So it's not about just having the child, but it's about developing that child.
Molding that person.
Molding that person. You know? And I think that is a big part of the joy of being a parent.
That is true. Because if you have a child, you love your child.
Yeah.
You want the best for your child, and you want to see your child do well. The only caveat I would put on that is it's very important to see your child.
Yes.
And to look at your child's strengths and weaknesses and see them for who they are. Because there's sometimes when we project our own expectations or needs or wants, and you try to make the child somebody he or she is not.
Yeah.
We've seen that happen sometimes, but I think most parents don't do that. But the important thing is see your child, love them for who they are, and let them become the very best that they were meant to be by just understanding, what they like, what they want to do, and seeing their full potential. So yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, because a lot of
Absolutely.
not a lot. Okay, some parents will bring a child up wanting them to do the things that they never managed to do.
Yeah.
Go to the schools that they never managed to, trying to live through the child. But as
Yeah.
you said, see the child for the individual that they are, and then build on their likes and their talents and their skills.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Who was Aloysius, right?
Aloysius.
Earlier was saying thank you to Minister Indranee for all your hard work and all that. And you mentioned earlier, you reply emails on the weekends, you reply emails at 5 o'clock. So here's the question. What do you do during your downtime when you find downtime? And don't say it's replying emails, being your
Okay, sleep is great.
Yeah.
Sleep is something that I think most of us would really appreciate. And then read.
Activity wise, do you get out there?
Yeah, I mean, I run when I can. Reading, I suppose, books.
Oh, that's a
And
nice hobby.
I like hard copy books.
I was going to
don't
say
like-
physical or e-reader.
yeah, physical. Just there's nothing like the smell of a new book.
Yes, it's the
yes.
smell, isn't it?
I totally agree, and I've always been a reader of hard copy books. But when I got myself an e-reader last year, I have finished 25 books since then. If I had gotten physical books, because there was a chance that maybe I forgot 2 books, put it in my bag. I always have my e-reader because it's so nice and slim. Go on holiday, read on the plane and all that, never lose a page. I've read more books than I have
That's interesting.
with a physical book.
That is
I mean, I love
interesting.
my physical books. Love, love, love. But I find that with this, I just read a lot more. And I don't
It's
need
true.
proper light as well.
But
Because you can
don't
read.
you get eye strain?
No, not at all. Because
No?
the
You use a filter,
the
is it?
backlight. It's not on a phone, so you don't get a blue light. It's
Okay.
a Kobo, so it's a page like, but there is a backlight that doesn't strain your eyes.
Okay.
So I found I completely love my e-reader. Completely love it.
We've been talking about the total fertility rate. We've been talking about the additional leave that's been granted. Adil came onto our Facebook page and wants to thank the government for government support. Why? Adil says, I have 4 now and 1 more due in October.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Okay, congratulations. Well done.
Nicely
Done.
done.
5 kids.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's very cool.
5 kids. That's
Keep
pretty
going. You may
amazing.
have your own football team one day.
But you're also bringing the number up, right? Which
Yeah.
is a great thing.
Which is great. Yeah. Okay, I will think about maybe having 3 kids now.
There you go.
Yeah.
yeah, more than the sum of the 2 of you.
Yes.
Which is what you need to do. To
bring that
replace,
number
yeah,
up.
For
to
sure,
replace,
of
yeah.
course.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, boss, I'm taking leave.
My 10 weeks is coming.
It's on the way.
So maybe some personal questions, Minister. What sort of music do you listen to in your downtime? Or even at the office? Do you have music playing in the background?
Very, very eclectic. I mean, not in the office, but at home, then, yeah, I'll get on Spotify. It's eclectic because it covers a whole range. So the songs that I picked today are some of the ones that I really like, but you said must be released after
The
2004.
2004, yes.
Yeah, okay. But, there's this whole 1950s, 1960s
course.
genre.
Yeah.
I think I like music from most decades except the 90s. I'm not sure about the 90s. 90s are blank space for me.
The boy band
the boy
type,
band time.
Westlife.
Techno.
Techno,
I never
yes.
understood techno.
Okay, got it.
But 80s was a great period. And
The 50s and 60s were great as
50s
well.
and 60s were great.
Yeah.
70s, so-so.
Yeah.
I think to understand techno, you have to be able to go.
That's all.
yeah.
Then
yeah.
you can understand. If you can't do that, you can't understand techno.
Yeah, because most of it did not have lyrics, so there
it was-
was no real
Yeah, it was
meaning
just
to the song.
beats
Just
and
sound.
bops.
Yeah, just
I
sound.
do totally understand where you're coming from.
Now, one of the last questions I want to ask, right? Minister,
away.
what's your favorite color?
Oh,
Wow.
Favorite color?
no need to say
Yeah.
pink because it's
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
92.
Okay, good question. I've never really thought about that.
What's your wardrobe like? Is it mainly muted or do you like color?
I think it'd be easier to answer in the reverse. In other words, I can't take pastels.
Okay.
Pastels kind of like totally fade
Wash
out on
you
me.
out.
So strong colors. I like jewel tones.
Oh, like
Yeah.
gemstones.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Oh,
sort
okay.
of like the sapphire blues, the emerald greens, you
Yeah.
know, the amethyst purples. Yeah.
Nice.
Wow.
Color is always
Oh.
good. Not enough people wear color.
It's true.
Yeah.
I like your jacket.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Minister was going to wear a fuchsia as well.
I
Yeah, I
actually
see.
was going to wear
Were
that
you?
fuchsia. Yeah, and then I was thinking, okay, maybe not.
Bit too much.
A bit too much.
Yeah, that's
Then
me.
I come here and I find you in fuchsia, so it's like good thing I didn't. Otherwise, would I like have been in
Like
uniform,
twins.
right?
But that would have been such a great photo.
The next time you come in, once Glenn comes back from his leave, maybe next year or something, when you get some time in the morning, you come back and we'll wear our fuchsia.
These are Barbie colors.
They are Barbie
Yes,
colors.
they
Yeah,
are.
they are Barbie colors.
completely.
Do you have a favorite holiday destination?
Anywhere that I can sleep.
Oh my
Oh.
goodness, so sleep is a big thing then.
Sleep is a big thing.
Okay.
Yes. So
Not a
seaside
city then.
seaside resorts are good.
Seaside resort.
Yeah.
In Asia.
Yeah, but I mean, before I got into government, used to like being able to get away to the Banyan resorts and so on.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
And then after that, it's like no time.
So you don't ever go away anymore? Not much except for work? I'm sure you get some downtime.
Generally not, because my mum is quite elderly. She's 101.
Your
Your mom's 101.
This is
Yes.
how we should have opened the show.
So I generally don't like to be out the country unless it's for work.
Wow, 101.
101.
Congratulations.
Wow.
Look at
Amazing.
FD. FD's eyes are like, what?
He's
There's
like,
hope
there's
for me.
Wow.
Absolutely.
101. That's pretty
Wow.
amazing. Pretty amazing.
That is something.
We've got your Pitbull Christina Aguilera song coming up as well. We're going to have to get you to talk about that one as well. Another upbeat one. And your favorite food?
Ooh.
Cuisine.
Cuisine. Actually, I really like salads. And
Okay.
then people laugh at me because they say it's rabbit food, right?
No,
But,
that's only what FD speaks like that.
Okay.
I'm
That's
a,
because I own rabbits.
I'm a vegetarian, so he calls me a rabbit as well. So.
Oh, okay. I'm not vegetarian, but I really do like salads with nice crisp salad leaves, and then you need to have a mixture of crunchy vegetables
Some
like
nuts as well.
okay, I'm
Do you like
not so
nuts
big
then?
on the nuts,
Okay.
but cucumber, tomato, because it's nice and juicy and crunchy, and then some protein.
And what kind of dressing? Creamy or
Make my
Thin.
own
Okay.
olive oil usually, and a vinegar, whether it's balsamic or apple cider vinegar or whatever it is, and lemon juice.
nice and clean?
Wow.
Nice and easy as
Clean.
well.
Can add in mustard if need be.
Oh, I love that. And maybe a little bit of honey if you want a honey mustard. Just a tad.
Just a tad.
Just a tad. Okay, we're going back on air for the last time. If you're not awake yet, that should have woken you up. Pitbull featuring Christina Aguilera with Feel This Moment. Yet another song picked by our resident DJ for the day. It is Minister Indranee Rajah. Thank you so much for picking that song. Why did you pick that?
Well, because it's in the title. It's feel the moment. So much of what we do, we're rushing around. You're doing this, you're doing that. You don't have time to catch your breath and feel the moment. And it's important sometimes to just stop, take time to smell the roses and say, I enjoy this. I'm happy with this, and life is good in this moment. It may not be perfect, but it still will be good. And Pitbull has that sort of great energy.
Energy. He's always bouncing. Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
But I think you've hit the nail on the head. I think a lot of Singaporeans do not take enough time to smell the roses. I really
we're
feel
such
that.
a busy
We're
society.
such a busy people.
Yeah, we are.
Always doing something. We forget that sometimes it's nice to just do nothing.
And have babies.
And have babies.
Have more
That
children.
is number one on my agenda today.
Okay, very
Babies.
good. Well. Your husband should be very happy to hear that. Then.
I will tell him.
He doesn't know yet.
Not yet.
So, Minister, any final words for anyone listening in on today's topics or anything that you might want to say?
Well, just conclude by saying, feel the moment and help raise our TFR.
There you go. And in case you missed it, TFR is basically total fertility rate. So let's all go have babies this weekend. Okay, thank you once again, Minister in the Prime Minister's office, Minister Indranee Rajah, for being with us this Friday
Thanks for
morning.
having me.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Have a great weekend.
Kiss 92. All the great songs in one place.